This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne. It's time for Wyoming Sports Talk today on KRAE. Here are your hosts, Nick and Larry Proetti.
Welcome to Wyoming Sports Talk today for a Monday afternoon, being brought to you by Mondello's Pizzeria. Paisan cuisine at its best. Still the number one pie in Wyoming, top 10 in the nation by the Food Network, folks. All pizzas prepared with a lot of TLC and delicious fresh ingredients, including the dough. Mondello's Pizzeria for pizza, stromboli, calzones, hot and cold Italian subs, steak subs, and, of course, those delicious pepperoni rolls. Joe and the crew invite you to come on by to 1507 Stillwater Avenue. You have to come on by because you got to go to the takeout window, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons, or give them a call and place your order at 778-6068. First Tier Bank's right across the street at 1508 Stillwater Avenue, open Monday through Friday. Again, great crew over at First Tier Bank, Tim and Tad and all of the wonderful folks over there. And again, we know interest rates are low, but they still have a pretty good return on their CDs. So again, check out the maturity rates that they are offering right now over at First Tier Bank. And again, banking always done with you in mind, customer service, number one at First Tier Bank. Lennox Auto Body over at 1020 Dunn Avenue. The Auto Glass and Detail Center can be found on Pershing Boulevard. And again, part of the Lennox family, founded by Dick Lennox, tradition carried on by his daughter Heather, and again, hasn't missed a beat. If you want it done almost showroom new each and every time, and again, they don't work under a canopy. They are here to stay. They have been here to stay. And if you want it done right, then you want it done by Lennox. 634-6608. B&B Appliance and TV at 714 Central Avenue, where they service what they sell. Got their service department there. They are your home for GE, Maytag, Frigidaire, Whirlpool, all on the showroom floor as you walk into B&B Appliance and TV. Again, TVs aplenty. Again, not box store TVs. These are the TVs that are going to last for quite a while. And again, you want to get your TV over at B&B Appliance and TV. 714 Central Avenue, South Side. Again, serving our community for almost 54 years. Chick-Fil-A at Windmill and Del Range, right across from Powers Field and Menards. Your home for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The home of the real chicken sandwich taste. And again, the Parmesan meal kit's available for $14.99, original, spicy, or grilled. Matter of fact, you can use the mobile curbside app from Chick-fil-A or use the two convenient drive-thrus. They're open Monday through Saturday for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 7 a.m. until 10 p.m. Medicap Pharmacy for all your pharmaceutical needs. See Gene and the wonderful staff over on Bluegrass Circle, right next door to Texas Roadhouse, again, where they've always been at. And Medicap Pharmacy, again, with your doctor's prescription, will fill those prescriptions. Come inside. They're practicing social distancing. They're open Monday through Saturday. A convenient drive-thru if you decide to do your business outside. Platte Valley Bank has two banking locations for you. And Rick and the great staff invite you to come on by. First to the original location on Vandehigh, or if you are on the east side, check them out there at the corner of College and Pershing, 778-0021, offering all of the banking services you come to expect, and they even have more for you these days. Time to do a refi on the home or a remodel or maybe an auto loan. Interest rates are at all-time lows, especially at Platte Valley Bank. Key of Cheyenne over on Nation Way. AJ says, we got to make room for the 21s, so these 20s must go, but I do need your trade-in, as he told me. So again, see AJ and the crew over on Nation Way, family-owned, family-operated, or if you want to do your business online, you can do it at keyofcheyenne.com. They'll provide all the information for you, the buying, leasing, payment plans. They'll even take your trade-in online, give you Kelly Blue Book value for it. Me, I'm going to do a test drive on the lot, and again, I want to deal face-to-face with my Kia representative. So, again, see Key of Cheyenne. Give them a call, 775-0123. It's scoreboard time. We got a lot of scoring to do for you this morning, or this afternoon. I'm sorry. I don't even go there. And our scoreboard is being brought to you by Taco John's of Cheyenne. Again, use the Taco John's app for delivery, or, again, the 5 locations: South Greeley Highway, downtown on KRAE Avenue, Yellowstone Road, right down east of us here at Ridge and Del Range, or east-southeast, and you go to Pershing and Ridge, and you will find our 5th location of Taco John's of Cheyenne. Great folks at all of the locations. Use the convenient drive-thrus, pick up the value packs that are being offered right now at Taco John's of Cheyenne. We go to Nick first with his scoreboard.
As much as you've been complaining about how long you've been, at least at work today and whatnot, you figured that you realize that it's the afternoon. But either way, though, again, looking at what's upcoming this Friday here on 1480 KRAE, as it's going to be a big-time battle. Again, assuming it's going to be number 1 versus number 2 in Class 4A. Will it be Central number 1, Thunder Basin number 2? Kind of flip a coin, and again, it's going to be a very good matchup. 2 undefeated teams coming into this contest, 3-0. So looking forward to this one. Again, Thunder Basin, the Bolts at Cheyenne Central at Risky Field, taking on the Indians. Both teams undefeated. Again, one will remain undefeated, the only undefeated team in Class 4A. The other one will pick up their first loss here in 2020. Pre-game show is set for 6:15-ish here on 1480 KRAE. Kickoff is 7 o'clock. They're live from Risky Field, 1480 AM, 101.1 FM. 1480KRAE.com is how you can hear the contest, and video live streaming on Periscope via Twitter at Nick Wild Sports and the 1480 KRAE YouTube channel. NHL action for tonight. One game on the slate, that being game number 5 of the Western Conference Final. That between the Dallas Stars and the Vegas Golden Knights. 6 o'clock is the start time for that one on NBC Sports Network, where Dallas does unfortunately have the 3-1 lead over the Vegas Golden Knights. So that's what's happening in NHL action for tonight.
Major League Baseball, let's check out the scores that are in play at present. And here's what we have going on the Major League Baseball scoreboard. They've completed 3 at Great American Ballpark, and the Bucks and the Reds are scoreless. This is a double dip between these two teams. Bottom of the 3rd inning, Marlins and the Phils are tied at 1 apiece. Just getting underway in Milwaukee after they got no-no'd by Chicago yesterday. The Brewers are hosting the Cardinals. That's a double dip as well. Athletics and the M's also playing a makeup from, it looks like 9-1, September 1st. So the A's and the Mariners right now are scoreless in the top of the 1st inning. Also on the slate, Braves and the Orioles later today. Twins, White Sox at Guaranteed Rate Field in Chicago. I guess that's for the top dog in the AL Central. It will be the Dodgers and the Padres hooking up at Petco later on tonight. Moving on to the National Butthead Association. Let's see what games are scheduled.
They're not tonight.
No, you're right. They're for Tuesday.
Due to the fact that those games will be broadcasted on ESPN, so instead ESPN has something else going on tonight.
That's right. We'll get to the football schedule here. So these games are on tap for tomorrow. At Lake Buena Vista, Florida, the ESPN Wide World Sports Complex. Heat Celtics will match up in the Eastern Conference Finals, and the Clippers and the Nuggets still playing in the Western Conference semifinals, thanks to the Nuggets winning last night. Game 7 on tap for tomorrow. Now we move over to the No Fun League, and let's check out what's happening for tonight. Couple of games on the Monday night schedule. First, we'll go to East Rutherford, New Jersey, where the Steelers will take on the New York Giants. And at Empower Field at Mile High Stadium, the late night contest, about 8-10 hour time, it will be the Tennessee Titans battling the Denver Broncos. Our scoreboard brought to you by Taco John's of Cheyenne.
How does Taco John's define a valedictorian? A valedictorian is smart enough to know tuition at a top-tier value menu should cost no more than $1, $2, or $3. They've graduated to guac, bacon, and steak. So for all valedictorians, we introduce the new Valueist menu from Taco John's. Enroll today for just $1, $2, or $3 to start working on your value thesis. The new Valueist menu. Commence eating. Download our app for exclusive deals at Taco John's. Bigger, bolder, better.
Are you ready for a new ride? With great rates, efficient approvals, and a lender you can trust, Platte Valley Bank is the place to go to secure your financing. Apply online at www.pvbank.com or stop by any location and apply in person. We are here to help you with hassle-free financing and get you in the car, truck, or SUV you've been wanting.
You can count on Platte Valley Bank.
Platte Valley Bank, member FDIC.
The message is simple. Drive sober or get pulled over. If you drink and drive, remember it's illegal and it can cost you your freedom or worse, your life. It's been determined that a blood alcohol content of 0.08% or more can impair you considerably when you are behind the wheel. Financially, it can devastate you if you get arrested. More importantly, it could result in losing a friend or a family member. That price is too high to pay. Call a designated driver after enjoying a night out and get home safe. paid for by Federal Highway Safety Funds. Check out the huge savings this week at Town & Country Supermarket Liquors. Here are just a few of the terrific weekly specials. Our Super Radio buys, heard only right here, feature Pendleton Canadian Whiskey, 1.75-liter bottle, $37.99. Kona Brewing Variety Pack, 12-pack, 12-ounce bottles, $14.49. And Tito's Handmade Vodka, 1.75-liter bottle, $27.99. Town & Country Supermarket Liquors on the South Greeley Highway, Cheyenne's low-price leader.
At Medicap Pharmacy, we concentrate on nothing but your medications and your health. Each location is a locally owned, full-service neighborhood pharmacy. We won't make you walk through aisles and aisles of stuff or wait in a long line. Instead, we'll always make time for you by listening, answering your questions, and explaining your prescriptions.
Medicap Pharmacy. We'll always make time for you.
Medicap Pharmacy, 1947 Bluegrass Circle, next to Texas Roadhouse in Cheyenne. Or call 635-3712. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think authentic Italian. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think made fresh from scratch. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think great pizza, delicious Philly cheesesteak, superb hot and cold Italian sandwiches, meatballs, sausage, and special subs, calzones, crisp salads, and great service. When you say Mondello's Pizzeria, think unmatched Italian taste. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, your only true Italian stop for lunch or dinner.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
Well, the wise for today, continued sunshine expected, daytime high near 83, clear for tonight, low down to 49. Sunny for tomorrow, we're calling for a daytime high of 84 degrees. A clear sky Tuesday night with our low down to 48. Wednesday's forecast, continued sunshine, look for a daytime high near 81. Mostly clear Wednesday night with our low dropping down to 46 degrees.
You're listening to Cheyenne's new Sports Talk Authority. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today on AM 1480 KRAE.
This Monday afternoon, the No Fun League was in action this weekend. We got NBA, the National Butthead Association, to talk about. Let's see, high school football aplenty over the weekend. And that brings us to our first guest. He is the head coach of the Burns Broncs. We didn't get a chance to talk to him on our post-game show because he and Coach Hansen, Steve Hansen, they go back a ways, and they had a chance to exchange pleasantries on the field after the game. So we'll catch up with Coach Brad Morrison right now. The Burns Broncs, victorious Burns Broncs, 16-7 winners over Tongue River this past Friday night. And Coach, first and foremost, congratulations, and nice crowd to kick off your home season.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, it was a really fun game. It was great to be out in front of people under Friday Night Lights again. When it's been in jeopardy, it was just pretty sweet, and I think everybody enjoyed it.
You know, looking at the game again, 16-7 winners against the Eagles, and again, Coach Hansen, he's battling some of the bug up there in his part of the world, but he's not going to make any excuses. So let's talk about your guys, especially, and most importantly, on the offensive side, Kaden David, your quarterback, I'll tell you what, for a young man, he really has that field general leadership about him right there. I mean, he's got everything under control, and, when he's handing the ball off to McLaughlin or throwing the football, I'll tell you what, this kid's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take a long time to figure out who the quarterback is when you walk out on the practice field and you see him. He looks it, and when you see the ball come out of his hand, it's real pretty. I thought he improved like we all did, but I thought he improved a great deal there, especially, with the touch on the deep stuff, taking care of the football. Maybe took some sacks, but did that in lieu of trying to force the ball where he shouldn't. So I was really pleased with Kaden. He played great, yeah.
I was going to say, just real quick, on staying on that offensive side, you ran both sides of the football, but behind the Fog boys on that right side, you ran pretty doggone good.
Yeah, those two, having those two brothers over there on the right side of the line, they're both, big, strong, pretty athletic kids for the line position, and they did a really good job. Yeah, we found a spot, and we ran, we ran that same wrap play about, I don't know, I think we ran it 25 times in the second half. It was a really good play for us, bringing sophomore Cale Hawes around behind the two Fogs, and just had something working. And the way I try and call plays is try and do it until it doesn't work anymore, and so we just kept doing it.
And Nick, I was going to say, we mentioned Cale Hawes a lot, quite in our broadcast.
Well, certainly, and also, too, same with McLaughlin as well, too, who kind of really sparked up that run game for Burns in the second half. Again, he basically kind of carried that team, it felt like, in that second half and eventually to the win. But want to get your thoughts, Coach, looking back to the first half of past Friday's contest where Tongue River, it seemed like for the first kind of quarter and a half of that contest, really controlled the pace, again, with that flexbone offense, and again, how fast that clock just kind of dwindled as they were out on the field. But before halftime, Burns managed to go up by one, again, get the touchdown right before halftime, go for the 2-point conversion, and all of a sudden it's 8-7 where Burns carrying that momentum into halftime. But how huge was it, that play, that touchdown play leading into halftime for your boys out there on the field?
I think that'd probably be the play of the game. We were definitely frustrated offensively. We felt like we had some places we want to get the ball to, and we just couldn't do it. So then right there, I think there was maybe 10 seconds left when Kaden threw that 30-yarder to Jackson. He made a play in the back of the end zone. That might have been the biggest play of the game because, like you said, been frustrated on offense, not getting the ball moving like we want to. All of a sudden, you're a couple of big players for us step up and make a big play right there right before half and totally swing the momentum of the game.
So, and again, with the contest, again, for 16 points, 2 touchdowns for Burns, 2-point conversions as well, too, for your team. Kicking, Coach, unfortunately, we're going to have to bring this up. Not really the strongest point. We had at least one kickoff that we anticipated was an onside kick, but no, it was just a kind of a doink off the foot, at least scenario. With that being said, Coach, is kind of the kicking position open to everyone? Are you recruiting soccer players out there, or is that going to be an issue throughout the season, trying to find a kicker for those moments, especially for field goal opportunities?
Yeah, I might be out there with a sign spinner or something, just with the sign that says kicker on it, flipping it around and dancing on the corner, trying to find somebody who can keep it in bounds. No, that kid, Carter David, that's his first time kicking in a varsity football game. If you've seen some 2A football, sometimes you can see some wild stuff on special teams, but I ain't never seen a ball go out of bounds 3 yards from the spot where we kicked it directly sideways.
And it was a spiral too. That was even bad.
Yeah, it looked like Steve Young threw a bubble screen out of bounds or something. I don't know what that was, but yeah, we're gonna, we're working on some stuff this week. We figured we'd try and get the defense shored up, and then eventually we'll have time to get to the kicking game. But I think, we got some work to do there for sure.
Coach, on your defensive side, and again, kudos to the defense and things too. Your hosses up front, controlling the line of scrimmage, especially in the second half. Shut down Perfetti, he's a big guy. The fullback for the Eagles. I was surprised that they didn't go to Bowles as much, and Axsmith, toed the rock quite a bit. But your guys up front really controlled that line to shut down that, that powerful running game, which forced the Cummings kid to throw, and again, there's Morales at the right place at the right time. So you got to be very happy with those guys up front. I think the strength battle was won by your kids.
Yeah, I would agree 100% with you. I felt like we were both, that was both of our club's strengths, was kind of up front on offense for them and on defense for us. And it was a stalemate for a better part of the night, but I think, when it came down to it, we got some stops and put them behind the sticks a little bit. And then you're right, the turnovers were a product of us stuffing the run and forcing them to kind of throw it. And like you said, Howell made a great play. Jackson made a really nice play. That final pick by Howell to kind of seal it there, they were booting away from him, and he undercut the backside crosser to make that. And that's a pretty special play. Not a lot of cornerbacks make that at whatever level you're at. So he made a big-time play there to end the game for us, and we were really proud of him.
I was going to say, Howell had him in his sights all the way. You could see that play developing, and that was going to turn out good for the Bronx.
Yeah, that's one of those cool things where you rep it, sometimes in practice, and you make sure the kid really knows, like, if you get this, do this, and then to see him do it says a lot about our coaching staff, Coach Suloff and Coach Miller, that worked with the DBs, and I thought we were more or less on point all night back there.
So, Coach, as you've had time to reflect and look back at the film of this contest, again, the victory for Burns, where you now move to 1-1 overall, 1-0 also too in the Eastern Conference in Class 2A. But what kind of surprised you the most on the positive side? Whether it was establishing the run game, especially with McLaughlin and what he did in the second half. Also, too, the other thing that we noted compared to our last contest here in town with Cheyenne East was Burns Bronx, especially for the second game of the season. Penalty-wise, was not too bad, especially for some young talent out there on the field. Again, not a whole lot of penalties called against your Bronx as well. But what was the surprising thing in the positive route for you from this past Friday night?
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with our discipline, our composure. There were less lining up mistakes or offsides mistakes or false start, holding, those kind of things. We cut those back a lot. I would probably say almost 200%. My favorite thing that we did was we snapped the ball perfect every play in our shotgun stuff. We lost about one out of every 5 plays against Mitchell due to a bad snap, and we didn't have one this week. So we didn't hurt ourselves. I think that's what I was pleasantly surprised with. But I will say, anytime you see little Riley McLaughlin pop a run, it's pretty cool. You almost can't believe it. He's such a tiny kid, but man, just motors and picks his spots and puts his head down and runs hard. He's always really fun to watch.
And he's fun when he gets right behind Haas, because Haas just basically provides all the Mack truck for him and blowing people out of the way.
That's right. Then Riley's just playing peekaboo back there, and yeah, that's a good play. I think we'll run that one for the next couple of years for a while.
Coach, you get the Herders coming up next, and again, as we talked in our pregame show, here's week 2 of your season, and it was a must-win for conference, against Tongue River. Hey, they just get tougher and tougher each and every week. We saw the Herders taking on the Casper Natrona Mustangs JV team back when we went up and did Cheyenne Central and Natrona. They've got some athletic kids, so you got your work cut out, and you're on the road too.
Yeah, going on the road will be big for a young team. We'll have to be mentally ready there. Thankfully it's not some 7-hour kind of trip. It's just up 25 there to Glen Rock, so I think we can keep them locked in and get them where they need to be mentally. With Glen Rock, they run the double wing toss power lead over and over and over and over again and just try and break you with it. And so our mentality's got to be right. We got to understand that we just got to have a 15-round heavyweight boxing match, mentality, and just know we just got to go keep swinging and throwing and be ready to get punched a couple times by them. That offense is tough, especially for young kids. It's not natural for 16-year-olds to go run their face into something full speed, but that's what you got to do to beat them.
I didn't mean to interrupt here, but final thought for me, I was going to say with your offense going up against the Herders too, especially with again, we can't bank on Riley McLaughlin carrying the team on his shoulders, but what he does though, he opens up that pass game, and you got some good hands there in Kirkbride.
Yeah, we've got some kids that can make plays out wide too. But I think that's my hope is to find some more balance. This week we were pretty unproductive in the first half, and even then, only probably I think right about 3 yards a carry for the night. So we got to get more efficient in the run game, and we got to find some seams in the pass game against them to get up early. If you can get up early on a team that runs the ball 98% of the time, you got a chance to hold them off. So we're definitely going to try and do that. Try and be explosive early and look for some big plays there to jump out on them.
So, and again, final thought for me, for you, Coach. Again, appreciate you joining us here today on Wyoming Sports Talk today as we look at Class 2A, especially the East Conference. Right now, again, the conference win puts you up there in the top 4, just behind Wheatland, Upton, Sundance, Torrington as well, too. But, again, overall, 1-1, 1-0, however, conference record. So, again, that's the positive thing from this past Friday night. Looking at action across Class 2A, I want to get your thoughts on this, Coach. Biggest surprise from this past Friday, in your opinion, was it the Big Piney upset over Thermopolis, Mountain View taking down number 1 Lovell? What were some of the scores that you noticed from this past Friday that were on your radar?
Yeah, I was surprised by that Big Piney Thermopolis game. Big Piney has improved a ton. I know Thermopolis is real tough, and we saw both of those teams last year. Big Piney's playing well. That quarterback's one of the best players in the state. So they're going to be really good. I was surprised by the difference in the Glen Rock-Torrington game. Torrington looks to be legit to me. To knowing what Glen Rock can do to people to shut them out was pretty impressive. And then I thought Wheatland getting Bighorn was big for Wheatland too. Shows that they're a legit contender. And all those games, those are big ones. But Lovell Mountain View seemed like a nail biter. Those are two very good teams too.
Well, Coach, we want to thank you on behalf of Nick and myself. We want to thank you for all the wonderful hospitality we had there. We enjoyed calling your game, and boy, I hope it's not another 30 years before I come back over to Burns and do another football contest.
Yeah, well, I hope me skipping out on the post-game interview is not the reason you don't come back.
No, we wouldn't do that. No, again, but thank you to everyone.
Thank
you guys were wonderful, and good luck to your team the rest of the season.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you for everything you do.
Brad Morrison, head coach of the Burns Broncs, joining us here on 1480 KRAE. Again, the Broncs defeat the Tongue River Eagles 16-7. We will take a timeout. We'll come back. We got more of Wyoming Sports Talk today right after this.
If it happens on the diamond, the hardwood, the field, or even the ice, we'll talk about it on Wyoming Sports Talk today. Hi, this is Nick Peretti inviting you to join Larry Peretti and myself each weekday from 3 to 5 p.m. as we, along with our special guests, talk sports locally, regionally, and nationally. And you can chat with us too at 307-514-1071. It's Wyoming Sports Talk today only on 1480 KRAE, and you can stream live with us at 1480KRAE.com.
College has been something that's always been on the back of my mind.
This is where I found what I wanted, one of my passions, what I really love to do.
In class, I feel more engaged.
The people here do care about you, and they want to help you succeed in life.
They make it so easy to be a parent and be able to still go to school.
I like the way I'm improving.
I love being, part of the LCCC family, and I'm glad I made this step in my life.
And Urological has been the cornerstone of urinary care to Cheyenne and its surrounding communities for over 30 years. With their fine expert doctors, along with their highly trained staff, they will provide top quality treatment for prostate cancer, urinary tract infections, kidney stones, impotence, and incontinence. Cheyenne Urological is now offering cutting-edge robotic surgery. So call Cheyenne Urological at 635-4131 for compassionate expert urinary care. That's 635-4131.
You get everything you want with the new 2020 Kia Forte. AJ Miller here for Kia of Cheyenne. And this sport compact sedan has advanced technology, sleek styling, awesome connectivity, and plenty of space for passengers. The new GT line provides an available 201 horsepower turbocharged engine for responsive acceleration, quick shifting, and even more fun at the wheel. See the Forte today at Kia of Cheyenne. Call 775-0123 or go to kiaofcheyenne.com. We'll make it easy.
Chick-Fil-A at Windmill and Delrange across from Powers Field is a proud sponsor of our high school and LCCC student athletes. Chick-fil-A always offers 2 convenient drive-through lanes to pick up your order if you are on the go. Plus, they have an excellent dining room for the whole family. And remember to order ahead. Use the Chick-fil-A app on your phone. Stop into Chick-fil-A today, open Monday through Saturday, where you can enjoy breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Your home for the real chicken sandwich taste. Chick-fil-A, Windmill and Delrange.
Capital Lumber is number one in Cheyenne. Are you listening? We're all the lumber store you'll ever need.
Since 1966, family-owned and operated Capital Lumber Company has been the stop for all lumber, paint, tools, accessories, remodel and do-it-yourself projects, and so much more. Now, Capital Lumber Company announces the beginning of a tasty relationship with Traeger grills, as they now have in stock several models of Traeger grills, along with pellets and accessories. Capital Lumber Company at 1222 Dunn Avenue in Cheyenne.
When it comes to sports talk in Cheyenne, it's a whole new ballgame. Let's play ball! You're listening to Wyoming Sports Talk today, and it's only here on AM 1480 KRAE.
Welcome back to Wyoming Sports Talk today. Again, got us in the high school mood to talk football there with Coach Brad Morrison. We also get to talk Class 4A, which we stepped out of the 4A ranks, I think first time in a long time that we didn't do a Class 4A football game.
First time for me, though. Again, going down at least outside of Class 4A.
Yeah, so, again, to me it was a very fast trip, short trip to Burns and back.
Probably, and again, for what was our schedule set to be, again, probably the better choice. Again, a game out there, Birds that absolutely deliver. Where again, it had theatrics, it had everything, and again, it was a Burns close victory against Tongue River, at least at home. And again, it was a big time win.
And the weather improved because when we got out there, it was drizzly and
windy.
It was windy, it was wet, and as the night wore on, temperatures actually warmed up a little bit out there.
Yeah.
So again, congratulations to the Burns Broncos getting that first conference win, very important. For the Cheyenne Central Indians.
Want to mention before we get into Class 4A, though, also, too, out in our county team, again, on the road, Pine Bluffs almost came away with the upset against number 3 Lusk, Niobrara County, where Pine Bluffs unfortunately loses that contest 58-35. Again, lap for Lusk in that contest. That's a school, at least rushing, at least record, 452 yards rushing and 6 TDs alone by him. But there was a point in time where Burns did have a lead in that contest, or at least Pine Bluffs had the lead in that contest. But unfortunately, Pine moves to 1-1 on the season after their loss this past weekend on the road. But now Class 4A.
Let's go first to Sheridan because that was
we're going to lead out with that one. All right.
Yeah, that was the longest road trip of the night, and that was for the Cheyenne Central Indians. And again, you and me discussed this last week. I'm gonna bow to you on this one because I thought this was going to be a tough one for them to pull off.
Yeah.
And not that I'm not a believer in them. I just know how tough it is to win in Sheridan. And matter of fact, I talked with Coach Apodaca this morning, and I told Mike, I said, it was interesting. I said that win that you had at Homer Scott Field reminded me of the old Sheridan High School football field when he played, when Coach Lou Roney was coaching the team. And as a matter of fact, the end zone they had was like 10 yards, and then there was a chain link fence. And the game that I called up there was just as exciting, and Central came away with the victory. But this win at Homer Scott Field in Sheridan, and again in the final seconds of the game, closing moments of the game, huge touchdown pass. It tells me a lot about Andrew Cummins. And again, we'll find out more when we do our pregame show. It seems like he is settling in as that field general.
As I said, he was going to, again, it was going to take him time. And now, if anything, of what you're seeing with Cheyenne Central pulling off the upset victory again, Cheyenne Central entering that contest number 2 in the polls, Sheridan number 1 at home hosting Cheyenne Central. Central comes away with a 20-17 victory. And again, they are 3-0 at least here in the 2020 campaign for Central. This solidifies that, Central's for real. It's a team that absolutely can win a state title coming up this season, without a doubt. This is a team not anticipating to go run the table here in Class 4A, again, where for Central you still have the Behemoth coming up this Friday game that we'll have when you host Thunder Basin, albeit, yes, you don't have to go on the road for this one, but again, it's still going to be a tough opponent against the Bolts. You still also, too, will eventually see Cheyenne East. And then we'll toss in a Rock Springs. Who knows what they're made of? Kelly Walsh, again, well, at least, Central already took care of Kelly Walsh. But again, Rock Springs is the other opponent out there that could give a little fight to Cheyenne Central, as much as I think the Tigers have really fallen down on my radar.
They're actually more of a disappointment. I thought they'd be a little bit better this
year.
For
Cheyenne Central, though, they've solidified in Class 4A that they are the top dog.
If you want to be real honest, and again, I'm not
two of their wins, and again against quality opponents have come on the road. Casper Natrona, week 0, and this past week up in Sheridan.
And I hate to say this, and again, this is no disrespect at all to the East High Thunderbirds. And again, too, that probably is their biggest acid test to come after this, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's pretty much the last major radar
and
team.
Again, I mean, they're getting the big boys out of the way 3 out of the first four weekends.
Yeah.
This is basically for home field advantage.
Oh, yeah,
if you think about it, this Friday night between the Indians and the Thunder Basin Bolts, I thought there would be a little bit of a drop-off this year. Now, again, you can't get a litmus test because they had South this weekend, but they beat Cheyenne East at Thunder Basin, beat them by a touchdown earlier this year.
And took care of business against Rock Springs on the road, albeit, again, Rock Springs does not seem all
so
that
their last
impressive.
2 weeks, they haven't really been tested.
Again, it's not been a big test. Cheyenne East is, again, a team that, sure, they beat Campbell County pretty heavily, but anticipate a lot of those top dog teams in Class 4A to do that against the Camels here. But even then, Cheyenne East is not as tough as I thought they were, or at least they're not that upper echelon team as I thought they were here in 2020. So this is going to be the big test for Thunder Basin. Central's already been tested, and they proved twice so far that they can pass that test. And again, they've done that on the road against Casimir Natrona, and now taking down number 1 defending state champ Sheridan Bronx up there in Sheridan. So Central has nothing really to prove. If anything, this is to solidify that, this is a top dog. If they win against Thunder Basin, which they can, they absolutely can coming up this Friday night. If they beat Thunder Basin here at home, it pretty much solidifies, yes, Central, it's going to be, if they make that state title game, which I think they have a good possibility right now, that game should be hosted at Risky Field.
And that's what we're looking at, home field advantage basically coming up this evening. Because, again, you look at the remainder games after that. They still have Campbell County. They still have Laramie. They still have South. So you got 3 of your weaker teams. As you mentioned, Rock Springs and Cheyenne East. And again, East would be your team that would be looking to, I don't want to say upset, but, again, you never know in the crosstown rivalry, so to speak, between those two schools. But,
you got the old school natural rival with Laramie, but again, the Plainsmen are better than what they were last season, but they're not enough to take down Central.
And technically, even though this is Thunder Basin, this is a Central Gillette matchup, okay? Even though it's not Campbell County, this is Thunder Basin. Those cats that went to Gillette, or Campbell County High School, they bolted over to Thunder Basin. Whether they went over as freshmen, sophomores, whatever the case may be, they bolted over to be a Thunderbolt, a Thunder Basin Bolt. And the bottom line is, this Friday night over at Risky Field, to me, this is the one you gotta circle on your calendar. It's a must be there if you can get a ticket to go.
And again, a maximum of 1,000. But again, average Joe fan that is not at least family cannot. So don't toss out that information to folks out there, because again, due to the fact that again with the restrictions, it is per player. You gotta be related to a player out there on that field.
And Thunder Basin is going to bring their complement. I guarantee you, they're going to show up.
But again, they're limited to what they can bring as well.
Yeah, but I'm just saying they're going to get.
As you're trying to put
tickets.
a spin on this, that hey, there's going to be a packed crowd again. You'll have that max capacity of 1,000, but it's definitely going to be one to tune in, especially again on the visual side with us with Periscope via Twitter at Nick Wild Sports and the 1480 KRAE YouTube channel. Again, we will have that live. Again, this is going to be the behemoth, the premier matchup coming up this Friday between two undefeateds, the last undefeated teams here in Class 4A. It's going to be a fun one, and this determines, a lot. Even though it is week 4 coming up, or at least week 3, game number 4 of the 2020 season, this has a lot of implications, more so for late October, November time, basically of what team's hosting and what team's going to have a host opportunity, but at least that state title game, it's going to go to the other guy.
If they can run the table. Now, you look at Cheyenne Central. First off, they gave up only 17 points to Sheridan. So that kind of gives me a lot of respect for the defense.
A defense that we've already known.
Yeah, you shut down a Sheridan team that can score almost at will. That tells me a lot about that defense. So it also gives me a little confidence heading into the Thunder Basin game this Friday night that the Central Indians might have just a little bit of an upper hand. And again, too, the Thunder Basin Bolts basically had to take their foot off the pedal out of respect, because what it was a running clock. It was 50-0 at halftime, if I recall.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what Coach Pakula did, but it sounds like they put 14 more points on the board. Sounds like that the underclassmen, the junior varsity team, got quite a bit of work in the second half.
We've seen in those running clock situations, teams do keep out players until about at least mid-third, or at least till about maybe the fourth quarter. So, again, who knows? We were not there, so not knowing. But, again, it's a Thunder Basin team that has pretty much cruised outside of that first contest against Cheyenne East. They've not been tested, and again, they've gotten plenty of reps, and they know again, how the offense is supposed to go and how it's supposed to look, so to speak. So for Thunder Basin, they've had enough reps here. They know what it takes to put up points on the board. But now here comes the true test of how do you match up against another top dog team here in Class 4A.
Well, and look at it this way too, Nick. If I'm not mistaken, I think Coach Pujols is in his third, fourth year. So I think he's in his fourth year because Coach Apodaca's in his third. So you look at this situation. Well, I got to add it up here. No, I think Coach Pujols is in his third year. So each of these two teams have had, the coaching staffs in place, so they're running the same systems that they've been running as sophomores.
Even though Thunder Basin with head coach Prakula, it's pretty much they've been on a winning culture for the Thunder Basin existence here for the past couple seasons. So the difference is between Mike Apodaca, again, he was brought on to revitalize his team, and well, here we are in 2020, it's there.
Yeah.
It's in full force. Where right now, again, the Central High Indians were a football program that has a lot of history, a lot of story, at least winningness over there.
It's got a lot of champions.
Yeah, without a doubt. Again, it's pretty much back to that, at least perennial powerhouse, at least over there at Cheyenne Central. But again, this Friday, it's going to be fun. It's pretty much pick your hair on, again, of the polls. I went Central #1. I've been voting them for the past couple of weeks as the #1 team in Class 4A. Thunder Basin, either way, they're going to be #1 or #2 as well, too.
Not bad choices either way.
But again, another dogfight between Central and Thunder Basin. This one's going to be fun, again, happening here in town.
And that's
going to be the biggest advantage is not being on the road once again, hosting the Thunder Basin team.
And the nice thing, too, it's going to be, as of looking at today's weather forecast, looks like Friday night's going to be a great night for football. Especially, we're not expecting 25-mile-an-hour winds coming off I-25, northerly winds. We're looking at basically a great night for football. And again, too, this could be a situation similar to what happened in Sheridan. Who has the football last?
It could be.
But I right now, I'm more, and I said this earlier, I'm more impressed with the Central defense. The defense has been, again, I think the linebacking core and that secondary, not the guys up front. The guys up front are really, really good. But, you look at that line, especially with Carter Lobatos, and then again that secondary, they're very active. And one thing that Thunder Basin does, like Central, they mix the run and the pass very well. So the secondary for Cheyenne Central is going to get tested, but I think they're up for that test. And if you can get the Hosses up front to get there and put a little pressure in the backfield, I think Central's defense might be just a hair better than Thunder Basin's.
What you're probably going to see this Friday night upcoming here in town at Risky Field could be an indication of what we see November 14th. Again, you could see easily that Thunder Basin would be traveling down to Risky Field to take on Cheyenne Central, again, where state titles on the line as well. I think this could be an indication of what you see coming up in the month of November between these two. So be very interesting to see the outcome of it. This one, anticipate probably the same score of what you just saw up there in Sheridan, where, again, it's going to be a close one.
Or it could be a shootout. Who knows? But I
don't anticipate a shootout due to the fact that Central's defense has been so good, slowing down. Again, Sheridan has good offense. Let's not forget that Sheridan, granted, again, it's been against nobodies here, but again, Sheridan 42 points against Laramie, and then putting up, 63 against Cheyenne South. So again, that offense can spark. Again, it's matching pace with Thunder Basin. So, but again, Central found a way. That defense to slow them down to 17 points in the come from behind victory this past Friday night. So that's why I don't anticipate it's going to be a shootout between these two. I think that defense is going to slow it down. And again, Cheyenne Central's offense is not that high-powered, or at least it's nothing that is going to break any records anytime soon.
It can get a one-and-done on, as far as I'm concerned. All you need to do is hook up with the outside.
Again, as you're seeing, though, against Cheyenne Central, against these power, at least, teams, again, 35 against Natrona is what they put up, 20 this past Friday against Sheridan, and then putting up 38 against Casper Kelly Walsh. So, again, they can put up points, but I don't anticipate that this is going to be, come fourth quarter in, Central's up 45, and Thunder Basin is 42.
No, but they're
I think what you saw
averaging-
this past Friday night is going to be something very similar.
They're averaging about 31 points a game, so that tells me they can. That's 5 possessions that they can score.
I think this is going to be a low-scoring dogfight.
Well, we'll see. And I'm not going to argue with you because you might be
Thunder
right.
Basin has a good defense as well too. Let's not kid ourselves. Again, holding at least Cheyenne East to 28 points in that victory, slowing down that team, and eventually getting that victory. So again, they can do it. Thunder Basin's, I think Central's defense is a lot better than Thunder Basin, but I think Thunder Basin can match well and cause trouble for Cummins and personnel on that offensive side for Central.
And I'm going to circle back around. I'm going to disagree with you on Cheyenne East. You say that East is
East again is a top 5 team, but right now they've not impressed me.
Well,
anything.
you know what? And I think they're going to be a step-by-step, week-by-week get better program. Again, you've got 3-year starter Graydon Buell at the quarterback position. You got Hesford. You got Rail on the outside. I look at, in addition to being, as they have always been, Nick, they've been a good running team. You mix it, and Buell's not afraid to throw the football. And that offensive line is getting better. And, again, this is an older veteran offensive line. I think the defense needs to be shored up a little bit. I think they'll work on that. But I'd say by the time East and Central play, East is going to be a lot better.
Talk to me in 2 weeks when they take on Sheridan of what that end result is going to be. I think Sheridan finds a way to pull off that victory. Again, I do believe Cheyenne East is on the road for that one. Next, at least this Friday, Cheyenne East will take on Laramie. So, again, that should be a guaranteed win for Cheyenne East.
Well, don't say guaranteed. They should take care of business.
I think it's a guaranteed. Again, Laramie is not upsetting Cheyenne East anytime this season. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that's a fairly confident, at least, victory for Cheyenne East. But again, talk to me in 2 weeks when they take on Sheridan what that end result is going to be. Do I think Cheyenne East could take care of business against Sheridan? Not right now. Not right now. And I don't think in between, again, this Friday night, and again, 2 weeks of practice that they're going to shore up and take care of business against the Bronx, I don't see it. Again, not saying that Sheridan's going to cruise to a victory in that one, but I think right now the Bronx are still a very good outfit that Cheyenne East has a lot of problems to shore up that Sheridan's going to easily pick out like a shark smelling blood. They're going to easily take advantage of it.
Well, see, and again, like I said, we're going to agree to disagree. Again, for Cheyenne East, they came out of the blocks. Thunder Basin, your number 1 or number 2 team. You had Natrona the next week. We knew Natrona was going to be good, and they were going to.
I still don't know what to make of Natrona.
Well, they came out and correct me if I'm wrong. They beat the snot out of
not necessarily
Laramie.
27-point victory for Natrona. Again, it's good. Yeah, again, that's pretty much.
And Laramie's going to be not competitive, but they're going to make you earn the victory. They're not a running clock team. Let's be real honest. You're not going to run the clock against Laramie.
They've gotten close, but yeah, I don't.
So do we think East should take care of business? Yeah, but for the East Thunderbirds, they came out of the blocks with Thunder Basin and Natrona. Then they got a little bit of a respite, so to speak, against a weaker Campbell County team. They'll be going up against a Laramie team. But these are 2 games, both Campbell County and Laramie, where Coach Goff is not going to be trotting in the JV team. He's going to keep that varsity squad out there to, get them better. And again, by that week 5 matchup or week 4 on the schedule, they go to Sheridan. I think they're going to be that much more improved. I think they're a work in progress every week.
But again, I don't think it's enough by that time that they take
we don't know that Sheridan's all that great shakes either. At home, we know they're really tough. I will give the Bronx their due. That is a tough house to win in, and Central made a believer out of me. And East knows it too. Coach Goff has been there.
Central able to pull off the upset, come from behind victory on the road against Sheridan. Does Cheyenne East have the tools and the talent to do the similar result if the game's on the line just like that? I don't foresee it. I think Central steps ahead of what I've seen so far than Cheyenne East. Again, not saying Cheyenne East is terrible, but I don't think, again, Cheyenne East, of what I've seen so far here early on in 2020, has indicated that this is not a team that I thought where they were going to be. Right. I thought this was a team that would have taken care of business against Thunder Basin in week 0. Well, and this team, again, Cheyenne East, could have been 3-0 as well at this point in time.
Sheridan's going to have to shake off that loss against Rock Springs. You don't know how they're going to react to that. And then again, too, then you come back with another powerful team. Let's be real. East is, as you said, it's an upper echelon team, and Sheridan just can't, roll over and say, hey, we're going to win this one, call it good. So, yeah, that's going to be a good matchup in a couple weeks. But, again, the matchup that we have this weekend, this is the two Titans thus far of Class 4A.
Again, right now for Cheyenne East, again, no disrespect against the Thunderbirds. Again, I am a Cheyenne East grad, so that should tell you something. But with Cheyenne East, so again, it's a team that's going to make it to the playoffs, team that should anticipate to be in the semifinals once again. But right now, are they in my personal discussion of a potential team to win the state title? No. I don't think they have enough. Nothing so far has proven to me that this team is championship material compared to the likes of Cheyenne Central, the Thunder Basin, and Sheridan. I'll toss in Sheridan because once playoff comes around, Sheridan, you don't know what to make of that team. It's the same with Natrona County where they find a way to spark at the right time, and eventually, boom, there they are in the state title game again.
It's not how you play August.
Yeah.
It's how you play right there at the tail end of October into November.
Yeah, without a doubt. So that's why I'm saying you can't toss away Sheridan. But, again, right now, those are the three teams that are in my discussion that are absolutely state title, at least contenders.
Yeah.
Cheyenne East is on the outside looking in, but they got to prove a little bit more to me. And again, that win if they can on the road, and again they can. I don't think they will, but they can against Sheridan. If they do that, all right, you gave me a little bit more respect.
Well, the interesting part now too is for these four teams, and I throw East in this mix: Sheridan, Central, Thunder Basin, and East. Every game now is almost as a must-win because you got Natrona with 2 losses. So they're technically the number 5 seed, and they're going to be on the road. And you definitely want Natrona on the road when you get to playoff time.
Right now, they're not the 5 seed due to the fact of, again, if playoffs...
They're 1 and 2. I'm just saying, but I guarantee you, by the time it's all said, I don't think Natrona, if I look down the list here, except for and they got Sheridan at Cheney Alumni Field.
Again, Natrona right now would be your 6th best team due to the standings of what's happening. Again, looking at the standings very quickly, again, Central and Thunder Basin at the top, undefeated 3-0. Cheyenne East 2-1. Kelly Walsh is 2-1. Sheridan 2-1. And then you got your bunch of 1 and 2s of Laramie, Natrona County, Rock Springs, as weird as that seems, with Natrona County there at the bottom. And then winless on the season, Campbell County and Cheyenne South.
And guess who Kelly Walsh draws this weekend? They get Natrona. We'll see.
Kelly Walsh, again,
they could score. They can't match it.
They're not ready
they're not
the pushover team that I thought they were.
I know, but they're not ready for prime time yet. They're not top 5 teams.
I think they could be very competitive against Natrona County. No. I think they can.
No.
I think they really can.
I disagree with you on that one. I totally.
We'll
disagree.
see. Again, Natrona County has not looked all that impressive.
And again, as you mentioned, Rock Springs will host Sheridan. We haven't talked about South. I mean, we'll get into that. That's a tough one to talk about.
Well, as we're getting towards the top of the hour as well, too, and we'll talk more about this as we'll talk also to Cheyenne South and bring up some alarming stats with the Fighting Bison right now in this season. But
I'm not sure nobody really wants to, go.
We'll bring it up either way though, because again, you got a serious situation right now with Cheyenne South. But again, running through other scores in Class 4, again, as we mentioned, Central pulling off the upset victory, the come from behind victory, 20-17. Looking at other scores, Casper Kelly Walsh wins against Rock Springs, 24-20 in that contest. Natrona defeating Laramie, 48-21. And then also too, as we haven't mentioned yet, but Cheyenne East pulling off the victory, 42-7 over Campbell County.
Campbell County.
That was at Gillette.
Yeah. So again, that kind of tells me a little bit. Yeah, we know Campbell County is not as strong. And again, Cheyenne East going on the road twice now to Gillette and putting some points on the board. So again, scoring 42 at Campbell County, that's 6 touchdowns. So that tells me that the East Thunderbirds offense getting there. And again, you can call Campbell County as you see them, but that East High Thunderbird offense has been scoring points.
Yeah.
And again, they scored against Natrona, and they scored against Thunder Basin. So this is a team also that's clipping a little better than 30-plus per game.
Yeah, without a doubt. With the 5 contests, and again, as we're keeping an interesting stat and look on what's happening in Class 4A on just the competitiveness, you had 2 out of the 5 games that were above a 30-point spread. As you've kind of set, that was a 30-point, at least what you consider a blowout, non-competitive.
35 game. Yeah,
30 points, again, of a non-competitive contest. There were 2 out of 5 games this past Friday night, so again, it equates to 40% on the season so far, as this is week, or at least 3 games of the belt, even though it's week 2, and we're coming up on week 3 again with that 0 week. But again, week 2, 15 games have happened in the Class 4A. 5 games have been at least above that threshold of 30 points. So again, about a third of games so far here in Class 4A in the past couple weeks have not been competitive. A third of them. It's kind of an alarming stat for me. And again, that's just me personally. Again, we'll get into one of those games coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, talk about Cheyenne South and their road trip up to Thunder Basin. Right now, again, we got a big discrepancy. We got a big issue.
Yeah, but the question would be to you, Nick, as we get close to the top of the hour here, what do you do? I mean, again,
there's solutions. And again, we've tossed them out, and I think it's something that right now at Cheyenne South, you need to find. You gotta pull the trigger.
But you're not going to do it until the end of the year. You can't do it now.
Yeah.
You just can't do it now. So, I mean, as much as
you could,
but it's probably not.
It's not. Yeah.
It's not beneficial to do this. But the thing is, with the schools that are having their difficulties right now, again, I mean, look at the size of Laramie, and again, this has been a powerhouse team prior to the decade change. I mean, excuse me, to the century change. They in the 1900s, they were the top dogs under the D-Ty family. Ever since we've gone into the year 2000, they've showed up 1 or 2 years. Other than that, the program's been in a free fall. So, and again, we like I said, we got a couple other, and Campbell County, ever since they've done the split there at Thunder Basin, they've been a no-show as well.
Which is very surprising. Again, I was anticipating that they'd have a little positive upswing here this season, but if anything, right now for Campbell County, it looks like they've trended downward from where they were in 2019. That's the alarming thing, especially for some of these results. But again, Campbell County, they're proven again, as Campbell County and Cheyenne South are both 0-3 here in Class 4A. Campbell County showing to me that they're talent-wise a little bit better than Cheyenne South. Again, when you have that matchup, I give it, for whatever reason,
probably
just a gut instinct to Campbell County to get that victory.
Well, and also, too, they really haven't been tested. East was their biggest test. Rock Springs and Laramie were their first 2 games, and they fell to both of them.
Yeah, but again, they were competitive against those 2 teams that, talent-wise,
and soundly beaten by an upper echelon team, right?
35 points.
That's 5 touchdowns.
Okay, let's compare it to Cheyenne South eventually when we get into that stat.
We'll talk about that here coming up.
And again, then rethink of what you're saying right now with Campbell County.
All right, we'll be right back here on Wyoming Sports Talk today.
B&B Appliance and TV has been your locally owned appliance store. Not only do we offer several major brands, we also service what we sell. And we have the largest parts department in Laramie County. Next time you're in a big box store, just ask to see their parts and service department. Then come visit the appliance experts at B&B Appliance and TV, 714 Central Avenue. Best brands, hometown service.
At First Tier Bank, we are proud to be a member of this great community and will always support all of our high school athletes. First Tier Bank takes great pride in sponsoring the live broadcast of the games and would like to wish all of our teams good luck. We share the credo with Newt Rockney when he said, "One man practicing sportsmanship is far better than 100 teaching it." It's all about the high school sports at First Tier Bank, 1508 Stillwater Avenue, Cheyenne. The message is simple. Drive sober or get pulled over. If you drink and drive, remember it's illegal and it can cost you your freedom or worse, your life. It's been determined that a blood alcohol content of 0.08% or more can impair you considerably when you are behind the wheel. Financially, it can devastate you if you get arrested. More importantly, it could result in losing a friend or a family member. That price is too high to pay. Call a designated driver after enjoying a night out and get home safe. Paid for by Federal Highway Safety Funds. Check out the huge savings this week at Town & Country Supermarket Liquors. Here are just a few of the terrific weekly specials. Our Super Radio buys, heard only right here, feature Pendleton Canadian Whiskey, 1.75-liter bottle, $37.99. Kona Brewing Variety Pack, 12-pack, 12-ounce bottles, $14.49. And Tito's Handmade Vodka, 1.75-liter bottle, $27.99. Town & Country Supermarket Liquors on the South Greeley Highway, Cheyenne's low-price leader.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
Otherwise, for today, continued sunshine expected. Daytime high near 83. Clear for tonight, a low down to 49. Sunny for tomorrow. We're calling for a daytime high of 84 degrees. A clear sky Tuesday night with our low down to 48. Wednesday's forecast, continued sunshine. Look for a daytime high near 81. Mostly clear Wednesday night with our low dropping down to 46 degrees.
This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
Also being heard on translator K266CC Cheyenne at 101.1 FM.
It's time for Wyoming Sports Talk today on KRAE. Here are your hosts, Nick and Larry Proetti.
Hour number 2, Wyoming Sports Talk today for a Monday afternoon, being brought to you by Kia of Cheyenne over on Nation Way, 775-0123, Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons. For takeout, call 778-6068. First Tier Bank at 1508 Stillwater Avenue. Again, open Monday through Friday, 632-3500. Lennox Auto Body and the Auto Glass and Detail Center, part of Lennox Enterprises, 634-6608. B&B Appliance and TV, 714 Central Avenue, 638-6468. Medicap Pharmacy for all your pharmaceutical needs. Bluegrass Circle, next door to Texas Roadhouse, open Monday through Saturday. Chick-Fil-A at Windmill and Del Range, right across from Powers Field and Menards. Ray and Cindy invite you to come on by Monday through Saturday from 7 in the morning until 10 p.m. And we want to thank Platte Valley Bank. 2 locations, Vanda High, and again, you'll find them over at the corner of College and Pershing. Our scoreboard this afternoon is being brought to you by our great friends at Taco John's of Cheyenne. Taco John's with the app for delivery, or just go to the convenient drive-thrus. We got 5 of them for you here in Cheyenne. South Greeley Highway, downtown Cary Avenue, Yellowstone Road, Del Range and Ridge, and you can catch Taco John's of Cheyenne right there at Persian Ridge. Yeah, the value menu is out, and you're going to get some great eats and treats always when you dine at Taco John's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's scoreboard time, and we check in first with the Nixter and see what's happening. What do you got?
What do I got is upcoming this Friday, as we've alluded many a time, but at least recapping to folks. This Friday here on 1480 KRAE, we will have the battle of the unbeatens between Thunder Basin Bolts, 3-0, Cheyenne Central Indians, who are also 3-0. Anticipated to be 1 versus 2 matchup here in Class 4A, but the pregame show here on 1480 KRAE for this one will start about 6:15-ish. Kickoff will be 7 o'clock there live from Risky Field. 1480 AM, 101.1 FM, 1480KRAE.com is how you can hear the contest and video live streaming on Periscope via Twitter at Nick Wild Sports and the 1480 KRAE YouTube channel. So looking forward to this. 5 different ways to tune in. Completely free as well, too, to tune in for this behemoth matchup coming up this Friday night. Here in town. NHL action for tonight. 1 game on the slate, that being the Western Conference Final between the Dallas Stars and the Vegas Golden Knights, where Dallas unfortunately leads the series 3-1. It is a 6 o'clock at least puck drop. They're live from Edmonton, Alberta on NBC Sports Network. So that's what's happening in NHL action for tonight.
Major League Baseball games that are in progress because we're double dipping today. The Pirates and the Cubs 1-0 in the first of their doubleheader. They've reached the bottom of the 6th inning. Bottom of the 6th in a makeup date from, looks like August 6th, the Marlins and the Phils, as they will double dip today. Marlins are leading 4-1 in the bottom of the 6th inning. We go to the bottom of the 3rd inning, doubleheader action between the Cardinals and the Brewers. No score, at least the Brewers got a couple of hits. Last night they got no-no'd. Top of the 4th inning, this is the makeup from September 1st between the A's and the Mariners, and the swinging A's are leading 2-0 in Seattle. Other games on the slate, Braves and the Orioles later on. Twins, White Sox. This is a big AL Central matchup at Guaranteed Rate Field in Chicago. The Dodgers and the Padres will hook up at Petco later on this evening in San Diego, where it's 91 degrees right now by the coast. Now, we also want to congratulate, let's keep it on Major League Baseball here, Albert Pujols going yard against the Colorado Rockies. Career home run number 660. He ties the great one, Willie Mays, for 5th on the all-time home run list. He hit that home run yesterday against the Rockheads. We go over to the National Football League, or as I call it, the No Fun League. And 2 games are on the schedule for tonight. One will be at MetLife Stadium at East Rutherford, New Jersey. Steelers and the Giants. The late-night contest, 8:10, will be from Empower Field at Mile High Stadium. Titans and the Broncos. No NBA matchups tonight. They move aside, and they will be back at it again tomorrow evening at Lake Buena Vista, Florida, including the Nuggets and the Clippers in a very key Game 7 of the Western Conference semifinals. Our scoreboard brought to you by Taco John's of Cheyenne.
How does Taco John's define a valedictorian? A valedictorian is smart enough to know tuition at a top-tier value menu should cost no more than $1, $2, or $3. They've graduated to guac, bacon, and steak. So for all valedictorians, we introduce the new Valueist menu from Taco John's. Enroll today for just $1, $2, or $3 to start working on your value thesis. The new Valueist menu. Commence eating. Download our app for exclusive deals at Taco John's. Bigger, bolder, better.
Here the season never ends. From Wyoming sports to the Broncos in Denver. From Rockies baseball to talking hoops with Nuggets basketball. Local, regional, and national. This is Wyoming Sports Talk Today, right here on AM 1480 KRAE.
We're back on Wyoming Sports Talk today. Again, thank you to Brad Morrison, head coach of the Burns Broncs, joining us in hour number 1. That led us into a lengthy discussion of high school football, which we will continue on. We have one more of our high schools that we have not chatted about. And again, I know Nick's going to be probably more opinionated than me. I kind of know the drill, what's happening. But let's be real honest. Cheyenne South just got clobbered by Thunder Basin. We knew
third week in a row
it was going to happen.
Yeah, and again, that's why we shifted this game. And again, it's nothing against Cheyenne South, but right now, again, anticipated this non-competitive game again for Cheyenne South, where Thunder Basin gets a victory this past Friday night. They're in Gillette, 64-7 over Cheyenne South, so a 57-point victory for Thunder Basin. As we alluded to in our Burns contest at halftime, it was 50-0. So already early on in that contest, it was a running clock up there in Gillette. So it's a scenario right now for Cheyenne South for the Fighting Bison, where right now 3 games have elapsed here in 2020. Your opponent has scored 181 points total. For Cheyenne South, that offense, you've amassed 29 points in 3 games. So to break that down, you're looking at 60 points per game at least.
You're scoring 10 and you're giving up 60. And again, let's look at
so
those.
Every time, again, you minus that 50 points right there. Again, you're looking at a running clock situation, at least point differential, again, in these contests against Cheyenne South around 50 points. So it's a scenario where, again, I've already said my piece regarding Cheyenne South of what needs to happen, but this is starting to become, as it goes week by week, to me it seems like it's more of a
painful.
It's a dire situation right now for Cheyenne South.
It's really painful.
This is starting to get really out of hand, ridiculous as well.
And remember, too, the 29 points that South has scored, most of that has been against, younger opponents. Again, because the game's been it was 50-0 at halftime, Nick.
Your most points scored right now for Cheyenne South was 14. That was in week 0 against Casper Kelly Walsh. Again, Kelly Walsh, who stands right now 2-1, again, is your mid-tier team right now in Class 4A. You put up 8 points against Sheridan at home, where again that 8 points was probably there at the tail end of that contest, where again JV was probably in that, and then a lone touchdown this past Friday night, where we know that was late in the contest. That was more than likely against JVers as well too for Thunder Basin. So again, you've amassed so far 14 points. So again, that 29-point total, majority of that was against Casper Kelly Walsh, or at least I would say probably all 29 points have come against, as you mentioned, yes, against underclassmen.
Yeah.
Not non-varsity probably starters that are out on that field taking on Cheyenne South to get reps and get them kind of prepared. Right now, again, it's stats that are very alarming. Again, you compare that to the other 0-3 of Campbell County. Now, obviously, again, Cheyenne South has seen Thunder Basin and has seen Sheridan. And we'll see what Campbell County does in return to, again, those schools. Again, we'll see Thunder Basin later on.
They get Campbell County at South this weekend, right? If I recall right. Yeah. They got Campbell County at home.
So South, at least hosting the Campbells coming up this
Right.
Friday night. So, again, that'll be an interesting contest. That'll kind of give you a litmus test of where both teams are at, and I think Campbell County wins that contest. Unfortunately, again, how close it will be. Will it be a 30-point or at least a run clock situation for the Camels?
No.
Highly doubt it. Highly doubt it. But there's also a part of me in my brain and in my heart that says it probably wouldn't be out of the realm, though. And that's the unfortunate thing right now.
Don't know.
How the season is going right now for Cheyenne South, of how dire the situation right now for the Fighting Bison is. It could be a realistic possibility coming against Campbell County.
First and foremost, here's the way I look at it here. I salute the young men that are battling for Cheyenne South right now. And again, it's a battle. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. And again,
they're out again. They are competing. They're putting everything on the line to get their brains beat out every single Friday night.
And they're trying to compete. And right now, it's just the numbers aren't there.
Yeah, size is there.
The size, to be real honest, the talent is not all there. That's the way I'm going to leave it. 180 points in 3 games. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out, hey, you've got problems. You've got
a lot of problems,
major problems.
But again, this is problems though that has existed for however long in Cheyenne South's history. Now, whether it is again with Tracy Pugh from at least again as you alluded to, again Scott Noble as your initial head coach, Tracy Pugh who's now with Cheyenne East as an assistant on that staff. You also have now with Dan Gallus. Again, it's a football program for its existence now. As we alluded, again, 10 years that Cheyenne South has been in existence, correct? Mm-hmm. 10 seasons. You've had a large enough sample size right now to realize that we got an issue with Cheyenne South. That South needs help in desperate ways. You've already had the head coaching changes that need to be made. And again, maybe there's another one upcoming after this season. I don't anticipate coming up here during the season. I don't think
I don't think that's beneficial for any football program.
Again, I don't think that would be
at this level.
I don't think that would be kosher. But again, you can't leave it out of the realm of possibility. Everything and anything can happen. But who knows what will at least be. Where things will stand with Cheyenne South football at the end of this season, whether it is coaching change or personnel change, how that's going to go. But it is right now something that the Activities Association, school districts, everyone needs to take a look at, a serious look at it. What's happening at Cheyenne South?
I don't know where you're driving at with the Wyoming High School Activities Association. They're going to stay 4A. We've already had we've had this discussion with Mark Puev, who's the athletic director. They are too big. They are too big of an enrollment to drop. They will stay 4A forever.
And again, I right now I don't think that's a valid argument. I think it's a crap argument that what we're seeing, whether it's from other athletic directors, from other district at least leadership from the Activities Association. I think it's a crap argument right now.
Well, you know what?
And I think it's honestly something that, as we're seeing other schools, and again. Size really, as much as it's kind of a funny joke on some stint, but again, size doesn't really matter here in the state of Wyoming due to the fact that how many times, even in this offseason, how many teams did we see shuffle up and down 1A, 2A, 3A, but nothing changes in Class 4A?
Well, what do you want? South to go to 9-man? You want them to be 1A, 9-man?
Again, moving down to 3A. Or either you move up teams of Class 4A to make that a little bit more competitive. Or at least, again, where Cheyenne South could have competitive games. Because right now, I think right now where you're talking, hey, the talent and the size and everything is missing from Cheyenne South, that's probably an extending problem due to the fact that there's probably student athletes out there that could be great football players that don't want to go out there and compete and get their brains beat.
That's right. And the varsity football players that are on South's roster are seniors, juniors, and again, it's a small senior class.
Yeah.
Juniors, sophomores, and probably freshmen that are seeing time now too. The point is, I don't know who's not going out for football. That's the first thing. Don't know who's not going out for the variety of reasons that could be out there for them not to go out for football.
Yeah.
Okay? One of them is, like you just said, don't want to go out knowing that they're going to get their brains beat out. That's probably the biggest argument right now why South football is not successful. The second reason that I'm going to throw out, and again, I like Coach Gallus. I get along with all the coaches.
No issue with them.
I don't either. But the problem that South High has done from the get-go
okay, from the get-go. They did not hire a local product. And you can't tell me there aren't local football coaches around or coaches in general that have paid their dues, whether they're an assistant or their former head coaches that could fill the bill.
You look at, especially here in town, Mike Apodaca, again, a former Cheyenne Central product of actually attending that school. Chad Goff, I do believe, was at Green River, or at least, again, he's from that part of, at least of the country.
And they came in as an assistant. Yeah. Mike was a head coach down in Colorado. But again, going back to Chad Whitman.
But again, Mike Apodaca, though, again, you're talking a local product, though. He's been in the trenches. He knows the state football, and he knows what it takes to win.
But also, too, when we talked with Chad, before the hiring or during the hiring of Mike, there were a lot of applicants for the Cheyenne Central job. Now, again, don't know when Coach Gallus accepted the position at Cheyenne South, don't know if there was a lot of applicants.
You would assume so.
It's a head coaching coach.
It's a head coaching position.
But again, this is where I think South has dropped the ball, and I stand by it. Again, Coach Pugh, who's now an assistant coach over at Cheyenne East, he came from Wheatland down to run the program. Did not have any success whatsoever. Okay? And then Coach Gallus came in, had a little bit of success early on, but it's been a struggle ever since.
Yeah.
And again, the numbers are getting fewer and fewer. As Coach Gallus said during the first day that he had weights with the kids, he said, hey, it's not too bad. But you can't tell me either whether it's injury or getting your brains beat out that those numbers are not getting smaller. And again,
as those personnel numbers get smaller for Cheyenne South, the margin of victory against Cheyenne South, it feels like, especially here in 2020, is getting larger week in and week out.
And here's another tough note to stomach right now. And I don't mean this again in disrespect. You get Campbell County this weekend. Could you be competitive against the Campbells?
I thought they could. Again, as preseason, as we alluded to, I thought Cheyenne South had a legitimate shot of winning against Campbell County and against Laramie. Right now, how things are going, I don't anticipate Campbell County coming down all the way to take on Cheyenne South to obliterate this Fighting Bison team. I still, again, as I alluded to, though, there's something that sits in the back of my mind that says, hold up, wait a minute, it still could be a possibility of how South has been playing of recent. How this team has been established here early on in 2020. Who knows, really, of what's to be expected coming up this Friday night.
Well, and again...
But I thought South, again, did not expect Cheyenne South to be that dark horse team that eventually snuck into the playoffs. I thought they had a long shot to be that team that if they got a victory against Campbell County, got a victory against Laramie, boom, there you are. There's your entry in as the bottom seed to take on a Thunder Basin Cheyenne Central in that first round playoff game. But right now, Laramie's proved that they're a lot better than they indicated last year. They're miles ahead. They're actually a competitive team per se.
Yeah, and they're still down at the bottom.
I think that, they're down at the bottom. But again, I think Laramie's a lot better than what we saw the Plainsman team of last year. Campbell County, I think they've taken a step back from last year, but I still think that the Camels have more talent, and again, a team that's a little bit more above Cheyenne South.
This is a chance for Campbell County, I guess, to use the word, will get healthy this weekend. Okay, here's my problem coming up for the Fighting Bison after this weekend. They draw Central.
It gets ugly.
They got to go to Risky Field to take on the Indians. Excuse me, the Indians got to go to South. Excuse me. And then they draw East right after that, and they get East at the Okie Blanchard Sports Complex. So let's think back to the game we did last year with East and South, where East scored on their first 8 possessions.
And they could easily do it again this season. Central could take a page out of East book from last year and do the same thing of how they've been playing.
Do you recall that game where we were in, midway through the third quarter, and we were in a running clock?
We were approaching running clock there at the tail end before halftime.
So, again, this is what concerns me, that with the Fighting Bison, and again, I give those kids their due. They are fighters out there. They're fighting against insurmountable odds.
They're without a doubt, they are the key word of warriors right now, because right now you step out on that field and right now you're going up against all odds.
I say every kid on that South High football team, on that varsity team, whether you play or not, deserves a letter.
Yeah.
Because again, what you're going through right now, week in, week out, and again, I'm just looking ahead towards the next 2 weeks. It's not going to be pretty.
Yeah.
And tell me, next week when South takes on the Central Indians, you tell me who's going to match up against the Storbold Twins.
If you got no size, again, they're going to just bull over like Mack trucks.
Okay, that's just one part there, the passing game.
Yeah.
You know, how are you going to stop a Carter Lapados?
Yeah, without a doubt. And again, this is not a scenario with Cheyenne South where we're saying, hey, hand them a participation trophy, or at least, hey, they deserve to have wins or give them wins. No, this is something where, again, yeah, you should have bottom-feeding teams, but those bottom-feeding teams shouldn't be obliterated like they've been week in and week out like Cheyenne South. Again, you're averaging right now, your opponent's 60 points per game. You're averaging 10 points yourself per game by Cheyenne South. A difference of 50 points victory for your opponents in 3 straight games.
Well, and here's the deal, and I remember
all I'm asking for Cheyenne South, and we've again the 3 years I've been back here, and I've seen plenty of Cheyenne South football and how the end result has been, and I've seen 2 victories I think in 3 years, if I stand corrected. I think last year, or at least the year before, they got Campbell County, and I think last year again, I think they got Campbell County or Laramie. It's a scenario that for Cheyenne South, all I ask for this team is you find a way, you find some sort of plan of action for the South High Fighting Bison team, where, yeah, not saying that they need to go a perfect, 8-0, 9-0 in Class 4A or Class 3A. Or any classification that they could move to. All I'm saying for the South High team and for those student athletes over there, where again, they're out there, they're fighting for their lives, and they're getting their brains beat out every single Friday night. Why can't they have competitive games, even if they are losses, have competitive games where they have a shot? Why can't they have what Cheyenne Central had this past Friday night against Sheridan on the road, taking on the Bronx team? Where they have a shot to slow down that team, or at least they're on that on that doorstep to either it's in their hands to either lose or win a game.
They're nowhere near that competition level
from whistle blow in quarter 1.
I'm just telling you, Nick, they're nowhere near the competition level,
and that's unfair.
And again, too, it goes without saying, you and me. And I'm sure the coaching staffs at Cheyenne South have walked the halls, and there are quite a few student athletes that are not going out for football for one reason or another. Mm-hmm. And again, knowing that the outcomes are going to be like this. I don't know. But I'm going to say this right now. Talking with Coach Harshman, and he said, in week 2, how the 4A was kind of starting to balance out a little bit. It's not. They're still your two weakest teams. And you can actually throw in Campbell County as your 3rd weakest team. There are 7 teams that can play Class 4A football without problems. Kelly Walsh is kind of on the outside limit because they've been on a downslide even. And Coach John Vance, who's no longer with them, he probably had them at their most competitive, and they've been on a downhill slide since. Campbell County
this year, I gave Kelly Walsh again. They're improving a bit than what we saw.
But Campbell County has done nothing since the breakup of the two schools.
Like I said, Campbell County, if anything, they've gone south from where they were last year. South has gone even further south.
But we're only talking sports. We're only talking football. We're not going to talk basketball.
Well, no. Again, with football, I'm just saying with Campbell County again. Campbell County and Cheyenne South, both of those teams they've gone farther south than where they were last season. Kelly Walsh has improved, at least in my opinion, a bit. Again, they sit 2-1. Rock Springs is taking a step backwards. Laramie, they're improving a bit, but Laramie, again, it's a Laramie Plainsman team that indication
for this down for the last 20 years.
But I'm just saying a Laramie team that indication from this past Friday night. Again, you're still not competing with that top 5 personnel, or at least top 5 teams in Class 4A.
Not even close, no. And so
is it a Class 4A that's balanced? Not even. It's a Class 4A that's very, very top heavy, and the rest is pretty much get out of our way.
If Laramie happens to get into the playoffs, and again, they beat Campbell County, probably will beat South. Okay, so there's your 2 wins that'll get you into the playoffs.
Yeah.
All right, And that'll probably knock Campbell County and South out of the playoffs. Again, just if I'm seeing everything right here before me, I'm telling you right now, I could tell you what 2 teams will not be in the playoffs this year. So,
yeah,
the thing is, going back to South, and again, fans, parents, again, this is no disrespect at all to the young men. I applaud them. It's got to be hard for those guys to go to work every Monday through Thursday, and Friday night turns out to be the same outcome. This season, it's going to be, sorry to say, the same outcome every Friday night.
Yeah. And that's the sad reality.
If they win, great. But right now, looking at what they've got left,
yeah.
Even the lower teams in that division are more talented.
This Friday night will be very interesting to see what the outcome is between Campbell County and Cheyenne South. Again, I think Campbell County, talent-wise, is a tad bit better than Cheyenne South, and I think the Camels find a way to pull off that victory. Margin of victory, that's going to be determined.
Now,
that's going to be the interesting spot to see. If Campbell County pulls off, again, where you're averaging 50 points, if Campbell County finds themselves in a running clock situation, then we got a massive, alarming issue with Cheyenne South. Where again, it's already high enough right now with the Fighting Bison. But again, if Campbell County, this team that just lost this past Friday night to Cheyenne, again, 35-point victory for Cheyenne East over Campbell County. If the Camels find a way to do something very similar as the past 3 opponents for Cheyenne South, we got a massive issue with Cheyenne South.
And I would reckon that the ball game will probably be a similar score to what Casper Kelly Walsh did at KW to South. But here's the thing.
And again, this as you're mentioning with Cheyenne South, again, this is nothing as we're putting down those student athletes. For me, again, it's for me, it's been my. And vendetta is probably not the appropriate term with a lack of better, at least kind of a word, but it is something with Cheyenne South for the past 3 seasons. A lot I've been seeing here in the city of Cheyenne in Class 4A football, it is something that these student athletes deserve better than what they've been getting the past 3 seasons that I've been here.
Yeah, and
to lose 50
and again
points
too,
a game.
What's running the program is not bad, but it's just not attracting.
And again, that flex mode we just saw had some, at least, it had some success against Burns this past Friday night. Again, it wasn't all impressive as much as, again,
they were short on numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, but again, too, not saying who's running the program is bad. It's not attracting new faces, okay? So here's what I'm saying. What's running the program right now is not doing it.
No.
Wins and losses, and again, sometimes you're judged by wins and losses, but you're also judged by who's playing and who's not.
Yeah.
So here's the thing as I wrap it up in this discussion. If you don't go with a local product, then you're defeating the purpose of this school.
Yeah, a local product that, again, could know, hey, Bain Elementary, or at least you start on that lower level. You know to go over to Johnson Junior High. You build those relationships. You encourage those student athletes that, again, playing for Post 6, Triple Crown, Wyoming, doing all that extracurricular outside that is not non-football for Cheyenne South. I get it. I agree with you where, yes, that local product that can get out in the community, get in front of those parents, get in front of those student athletes and say, hey, I've been through these battles.
And you get
I
over
know
to
what
Johnson
it takes here in
and you tell those young Firebirds, hey, the program is going to turn into a new direction.
And again, Johnson, even when I was playing there, again, Johnson was a pretty dominant force. Again, not knowing what the junior high ranks look like, but again, from word of mouth, Johnson is not terrible, or at least they've not declined on football there in the junior high ranks. Again, they've kind of stayed competitive, and again, they're not seeing the same results as when they move up to the varsity level.
And you know, and you were mentioning the flex bone. Right now, that's probably the cards that have been dealt and that you have to run.
Yeah.
I don't think you have the quality or even the quantity to be a balanced team similar to East or Central.
No.
You just can't do it.
Well, again, your quarterback he's
going to be running for life.
Yeah.
He's running for his life. So again, this is where the move has to come from, and I would hope that one will make the move to step down, step aside, and let somebody else come in with newer ideas. Maybe more of an attractiveness to those that are currently on campus and those that are going to be coming across the street next year. You need numbers.
And again, one thing that Chad Goff has always said, we've got numbers. And again, with KRAE being next door, they're going to have even bigger numbers. Cheyenne Central now drawing those numbers from McCormick as well as, again, there's a revitalization of the program. Okay? And again, you tip your cap to Mike Apodaca. Dan Gallus has not been able to tip those scales.
Yeah.
And again, it's not because Dan is a bad person. It's just that they're not coming out in the droves to be a South High Fighting Bison.
If anything, again, to kind of expose it again, this is nothing new here in the city of Cheyenne, but again, it goes on kind of deaf ears for whatever reason. You're even seeing some of those personnel find a way to get out of that school district to go either to Central or East due to the fact of what's happening with football or other athletics.
And that's not a bulletin. I mean,
No.
that to me, I mean, we even saw
that's also
we
true.
even saw it in our part of the world too, where the person sold their home so they can move to the East District because their family was scheduled to go to South High. So I know that drill, not dumb. And
it's a reality of that.
And people
again,
can do that.
people here in town. Again, you cannot put your head in the sand and just ignore the fact. No, again, it is something that is happening. It seems like it's happening more often than not.
But again, I go back to its infancy when it was first started. And again, you're not bringing in local products. You're bringing out-of-town products in that are not attracting the fan support. They're not attracting the kids support.
Yeah.
Okay? And again, the game is about the kids, not you and me. And if they're not showing up, because you can't tell me at that school where the enrollment is one of the highest in the state, there are a lot of young men that go to that school to play football that are not going out. And they're whatever they're doing.
And again, not saying that's going to be the end-all, be-all end result, or at least that's what's going to change Cheyenne South football for the future. If that was a change,
it wouldn't hurt.
But, yeah, it certainly wouldn't hurt. But it is something that needs to be figured out. And it's not just one simple solution. It's got to be figured out in some way, shape, or form, whether it is personnel or figuring out where we put this team at for football for the future, or how do we make this, again, a Class 4A where others are saying it's balanced and we're saying from our perspective as a neutral entity, it's far from balanced. How do you make Class 4A balanced? And again, my argument for Cheyenne South is not anticipating them or not saying that they deserve win after win and just hand them victories. No, it's a team that definitely, again, teams need to deserve that win. But also, too, when they're in a losing situation, why can't those games be competitive?
Yeah, you know,
50 points per game is not acceptable.
And I hate the thing. Well, there's got to be winners. There's got to be losers. I hate that.
I don't care about that verbiage. But again, with those losers, they should not be losing by 50 points a game.
They should be allowed to play
That's unacceptable.
They should be allowed to play a full 48 minutes. Where they get a chance to take a break with the clock stopping.
This is not college level. This is not professional. These are high school. These are still kids, student athletes. They should not be losing by 50 points week in and week out and basically, again, go out to play football for nothing.
Yeah. I mean, we know the Class 4A, as again, we've always said, you got your top four. Now you can add a fifth team into that top five. So those guys are going to be good year in, year out. And then you got about two teams that might be able to crack, and then you got three teams that are the lower tier. Well, the two lower tier teams at least get a chance when they play each other. They're competitive.
Yeah.
And again, when they play that second tier group, they're even competitive against them. But everybody kind of just foams at the mouth going, hey, guess who we got on the schedule this week? Yeah. We got the bottom team. The bottom team
you
right
don't
now.
think Campbell County is in that same position, even though they're 0-3. You don't think that they're foaming on the mouth, even to travel down here saying, wow, we have a good shot here to win.
That's a must-win for Campbell County just to even consider an opportunity to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, again, and I hope South would turn the corner this weekend, but am I realistic? Yeah, they're not going to. It's just not there, folks, and it's not going to be there all season long. And again, I shudder to think what's going to happen after this weekend, the next 2 weekends coming up against our other teams here in Cheyenne. Not going to be pretty.
No, not
I'll tell you that right now. All right, we got to take a timeout. We're going to be right back with more after this.
When you are dealing with the coin shop to buy, sell, or trade your gold, silver, or other precious metals, you will be met with honesty, fairness, knowledge, and exceptional customer service. The Coin Shop has been serving Cheyenne since 1982 and is a respected member of our community. Call David today at 778-7196 to meet privately or visit during regular business hours, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 p.m. The Coin Shop, a dealer you can trust, 510 West 16th Street.
Chick-fil-A at Windmill and Del Range across from Powers Field is a proud sponsor of our high school and LCCC student athletes. Chick-fil-A always offers 2 convenient drive-through lanes to pick up your order if you are on the go. Plus, they have an excellent dining room for the whole family. And remember to order ahead. Use the Chick-fil-A app on your phone. Stop into Chick-fil-A today, open Monday through Saturday, where you can enjoy breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Your home for the real chicken sandwich taste. Chick-fil-A, Windmill and Del Range.
It's time to love driving again. AJ Miller here for Kia of Cheyenne. We have the new 2021 Kia K5. Bring back the fun with this amazing sports sedan and get it now for a price that will surprise you. Standard features include 8-inch touchscreen, an auto climate, and dual zone temperature control. Available options include turbo power, all-wheel drive, panoramic sunroof, and rear-view camera. Come by Kia of Cheyenne, call 775-0123, or go to KiaofCheyenne.com, and we'll make it easy.
The message is simple. Drive sober or get pulled over. If you drink and drive, remember it's illegal and it can cost you your freedom or worse, your life. It's been determined that a blood alcohol content of 0.08% or more can impair you considerably when you are behind the wheel. Financially, it can devastate you if you get arrested. More importantly, it could result in losing a friend or a family member. That price is too high to pay. Call a designated driver after enjoying a night out and get home safe. Paid for by Federal Highway Safety Funds.
When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think authentic Italian. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think made fresh from scratch. When you say Mondello Pizzeria, think great pizza, delicious Philly cheesesteak, superb hot and cold Italian sandwiches, meatballs, sausage, and special subs, calzones, crisp salads, and great service. When you say Mondello's Pizzeria, think unmatched Italian taste. Mondello's Pizzeria, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, your only true Italian stop for lunch or dinner.
Your locally owned and operated radio stations, KYOI FM and 1480 KRAE AM, are just that, local. Serving Cheyenne and Laramie County, where your advertising dollar stays local too. It doesn't end up in Colorado, Oklahoma, New Hampshire, or even New York. We conduct business here, we shop here, and we live here. And we support our entire community 24/7, 365. Just because it has a window dressing doesn't mean it isn't a facade. A reminder from KYOI and 1480 KRAE.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
Well, the wise for today, continued sunshine expected. Daytime high near 83. Clear for tonight, low down to 49. Sunny for tomorrow. We're calling for a daytime high of 84 degrees. A clear sky Tuesday night with our low down to 48. Wednesday's forecast, continued sunshine. Look for a daytime high near 81. Mostly clear Wednesday night with our low dropping down to 46 degrees.
Got something to say? Then get it off your chest right now. Phone lines are open at 307-514-1071. Make your opinion count and call the show. Wyoming Sports Talk today.
We're back on Wyoming Sports Talk today. There's got to be some very good lawyers that know a little bit about sports, because right now they are hot and heavy going after various conferences. Now,
well, do want to mention college football has been underway again. We saw
Big 12 got into action this weekend.
Yeah, Big 12, ACC. You had a lot of games. Notre Dame had their contest as well too, as they're now part of the ACC. At least for this scenario, for the season, BYU's already been in action. So again, college football's been underway. We've seen fans in stands in some stadiums, some not. But again, college football got underway. Had some thrilling games, and out here in this part of the world, same with the Midwest and even on the Pacific Coast. It's been quiet, at least on the college side, due to the fact that the Mountain West is not playing. Pac-12's not playing.
And they're
Big
talking.
Ten's not playing.
They're talking until what, mid-November.
That's potential for the Pac-12. They've been interested. Mountain West came out last week, and the indication is that they're still definitive of no fall sports as of right now.
Big Ten presidents.
The Big Ten is the interesting spot.
Well,
right
they
now.
did not vote yesterday. The presidents and chancellors. They kind of poo-pooed it a little bit, and here's what I'm saying, and I mentioned that with the attorneys. A lot of these young men that are potentials for the National Football League, because again,
which means also too, again, big time monies.
Yeah, we're talking that guys could go in the first or second round. Those are big dollars.
Well, again, I think what the adage was like top 10, the money differential is pretty significant than if you're a later round pick.
Yeah, and the thing is too, you are not playing this year. Yeah, they're seeing your junior year, but you're not playing your senior year right now, and that could drop your stock in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the deal.
Where some of these other quarterbacks or other personnel for other teams, especially in the Big 12, the ACC, could take that or retake that place and be like, oh, hey, look at my body of the work of what I was able to do this season, and kind of move up those draft boards.
And don't kid yourself. Josh Allen of the Wyoming Cowboys, and bless him for getting that opportunity as he's now beginning his third season. He and his family are going to be well taken care of, okay? He got pretty good bucks for when he got drafted by the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
Okay? And we're talking 7 figures. We're not talking 6 figures.
And he's proven that he's going to be that franchise quarterback.
And right now, as I go back to my earlier statement with attorneys, a lot of these young men's families are getting attorneys right now, and where you and me have gone back and forth.
Well, no. And again, I'm not argumental. I'm just saying I think what is happening with the Big Ten, with the Pac-12, is this reasoning. But again, what you're saying regarding financials, I've been saying this many a time, especially what you're seeing right now with the Big Ten. It was damned if they do, damned if they don't. They're losing money no matter what. Whether player X dies on a field or where we're not playing football at all. Again, the Big Ten, the Pac-12, and who knows what the Mountain West is possible as well too. They're losing money no matter what.
And here's been the big argument for a lot of this cancellation: myocarditis.
Yeah.
A viral inflammation of the heart muscle and other conditions found in athletes who recovered from COVID-19. But again, too, this is also in your body if you've had the flu. Okay? You've had some other viral infection.
Yeah.
So, but again, COVID-19 is the big deal now. So everything is related to COVID-19. Understandable. And you've made that you've brought that to the table as well too, saying, hey, they don't want to be involved in a lawsuit if player X dies on the football field because of playing with COVID-19.
Yeah.
So they're damned if they do, damned if they don't.
I think, and again, I think those conferences, in all honesty, if they come back, or again, if the Big 12, the ACC, and hopefully it does not happen, and I don't think it's going to happen, but again, if player X does die and they say, hey, it was a COVID death that player died while playing football, I think the ramifications are going to be huge. Going to be huge, again, for the football program that it happened at, the university, and that conference. I honestly believe that. And there's you can't disagree with that.
Now, let me go back in time, though, Nick. Do we go back to last year when player X died of myocarditis? Do we go back and we exhume that body and we go through the tissues and we say, he died of this disease, but it was from whatever? Does the family go back and ask for money now? Because, again,
who knows if they got it?
I know, but we've had players, unfortunately, die year in, year out. And it's a sad fact. Again, same thing with COVID-19. We've had people die. Sorry that this has happened.
Yeah, certainly in years past before the COVID-19 pandemic, yes, there have been players that have died, not necessarily on the field. Again,
and they died in practice.
Yeah, in camps and whatnot.
So, the thing is, right now, the attorneys are stepping forward with the players' families, and they're going to go after these conferences where you say they got a war chest. They may have a war chest, but after a while, when Nick Proetti wins his case, Larry Proetti's other kid is going to go up against them as well.
Oh yeah, they're like I said,
the war chest is going to dwindle.
Yeah, there's no win-win right now for any conference, especially for the Big Ten of what they're dealing with. But yeah, without a doubt, again, they have monies in place. But yeah, without a doubt, after all these cases and lawsuits, this Big Ten, basically, it's going to force the Big Ten to say, "Hey, we need to get back on the field. We need we need revenue."
The only two arguments they got right now are, again, the conferences are COVID-19 and the myocarditis. That's the only two arguments they've got.
Yeah.
Other than that, what else do they got?
Not much.
Okay, so, and again, if I'm an attorney, I'm going to say, well, let's take a look in history here. You know, so-and-so passed away last year because of this, but that wasn't COVID-19 related. How do you justify playing your games last year?
Yeah.
This gentleman died. Well, he had an again, they're going to come up with excuses.
Well, and again, where you're talking, hey, these student athletes have, again, the parents or whoever's coming out with the arsenal of lawyers. You don't think attorneys and lawyers are, aplenty for the Big Ten Conference or for these universities where again they got staffs that can easily counter any of these lawsuits, or at least attempt to save any buck or two that they can.
Let me ask you this question. Has the Centers for Disease Control, we only know the little troll Fauci has popped off. He's the only guy that says, hey, we got problems. But let me ask you, has the Centers for Disease Control come out and said, it's not a good idea to play football this year?
No, they've not released like an official statement on it or anything. Again, especially where you have the president of the United States saying, "Hey, we should."
He says, "Play football."
And I don't disagree with them. Again, so far, what you've seen in the past couple of weeks, it's possible. It's possible to have fans in stands, get it underway, and again, from indications of how these football programs, these universities are handling these athletes, again, it's a safer environment than putting them back in their hometowns or other states. So it is, for me, I've been pro-football, pro-college football, where, yes, the Mountain West, it's a joke that you didn't play this season. I get it. I understand why you did it in a way, but it's a complete joke. It's a complete joke to those student athletes, especially to some of these universities that have handled this very well. Now, you do have your rogues, what were happening down in CSU. Granted, we have no idea. Again, that investigation still has not been figured out. What happened out.
It still hasn't concluded. Yeah, absolutely.
But again, there are other universities that have figured this out and made sure, hey, we kept it clean, we've kept these players safe, and this is how we've done it.
And one thing I want to say, and if it comes out wrong, I apologize on it. I think politics are playing way too much of a part of all of this, because one side says this. The other side says that.
Look at the geography of these conferences. Where you look at the Big 12 again, Texas is majority. At least the teams there in Texas.
It's a red state.
It's an open state, or at least it's been open for a while. Oklahoma has been open for a while. Iowa's
red.
Yeah, Iowa's been taking care of business. And then you have like the lights of Kansas. Kansas also too has been open. You look at the ACC, where granted it's up and down, but again, Virginia, that seems like it's not had issues. Florida, that we know has been wide open for time. Even with the SEC, again, you look at Alabama, Florida, Georgia,
and again,
all those South states.
And most of the South are red states.
And then you look at the Pac-12, California, Oregon, Washington. You'll make your own. Again, you understand what's happening out there. Where again, they're still all shut down. They got worlds of problems out there on that part of the world.
Here's what I'm saying.
The Big Ten, where again, Michigan has had that big issue of keeping everything closed. Illinois has been closed. Again, Wisconsin's having issues. Minnesota's having issues. So again, it is a geography kind of political game where it makes sense of why, hey, southern states that have been open and been a little relaxed. Hey, they've allowed that.
And this is one thing I said. This is why I get mad at the National Butthead Association.
For the Mountain West, that's the only interesting thing.
Yeah.
Due to the fact, and again, the only argument against that, or at least the explanation was, or at least could be, is that the Mountain West Conference, the headquarters, is down in Denver, Colorado, where they got issues.
And that's a blue state. You got three.
Where they've been shut down.
3 California teams. That's part of a blue state. Again, Air
Las
Force,
Vegas,
Colorado State.
Las Vegas has had it. Yeah.
And Reno. So, again, this is what I keep saying about these things. There should be no politics at all. These are sports, not politics. If you want to play politics, then get your butt to Washington, D.C. That's where the politics is being played, not here. And again, they're playing with young people's futures, and they don't give a damn. And they're trying to give you this sad sob story, and it's like, you know what? Guess what? Your happy butts are going to get sued, and you're going to have to fork out some bucks.
How are you going to get those bucks back next year? What are you going to do? You're going to cry to the government and say, "Hey, we're out of money."
How you do it is either you find
raise
a way
tuition.
Yeah, as again, that's been an indication wrong, or at least it's been kind of surprising where some students have come out, or at least across the country, where hey, tuition prices have been at least been raised, even though I got limited access to this campus due to what's going on. And again, shady stuff like that is happened even before COVID-19 ever existed in the college ranks. Again, the collegiate system, and not so much with athletics, but again, colleges across the entire nation have already had shady practices. It's a complete corrupt system, especially with how expensive tuition is gotten at this point in time, how ridiculous it is. But yeah, you're talking where they need to find that revenue stream. Yeah, you find a way to up those tuition prices. You find a way to up probably ticket prices at at Ohio Stadium or again,
and people will pay it.
Yeah,
but the thing is, I sit here in our part of the world and I say thank you, and I have been outspoken against them. But I say thank you to the people that had the cojones to say, yeah, let's play football.
Yeah.
And we're playing football. Now again.
And you're seeing just down the road in Colorado where they're rethinking it, where they're going, oh, we might have made a mistake.
Well, they first said no, and now they're going back to rethink it again.
Yeah.
So, again, politics, leave it to the politicians, for gosh sakes. These are young men and women, and
just get rid of politics altogether.
Well,
don't even need politicians anymore.
Well, you'd probably have to cut off one state and send it into the sea. That's where most of the politics are at right now.
Yeah, you could probably send the whole coast on that side.
But the thing is, right now, though, again, what happens with the politics, it bleeds over. It's bleeding from the professional ranks into our collegiate ranks.
Oh, yeah.
And thank goodness there's a reservoir or there's a dike that prevents it from getting into the high school ranks. The politics is not in the high school.
Maybe in this state, again, that's why I mentioned
some states, I should say.
But yeah, again, it hasn't gotten here to the state of Wyoming. Not saying that it won't. I still think that it can. And again, eventually you might run into that player. We've not seen every team in the state of Wyoming
if you bring politics, and again, I say this right now, sports are sports. Leave it at that. There's no place for politics in sports. No.
Again, for me, I don't really. It doesn't. To me, if I see a high schooler here in the state of Wyoming that kneels or puts her fist up for a national anthem, it doesn't bother me. It's who cares. They're doing their own thing. It does not affect me any way, shape, or form. Do whatever. It is. It's not causing me harm. It's not doing anything. I'm not offended by it. Do whatever. That's just my rationale on that. With the NFL again, and what they've been doing this past weekend, again, where you saw players, hand over heart, standing up, kneeling, the locking of arms between Houston and Kansas City on that Thursday night game. I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm also not tuning in for that.
That also too that's a gutless commissioner who talks out of both sides.
He's an idiot. We already know that.
He talks out of both sides of his mouth. But the thing is, though, when you, as you were mentioning, that it doesn't bother you.
No.
The thing, it's like drugs. Just say no. No. This is the way we do things.
It's not a drug. It is not harming anyone.
I know, but
for a kid to go out there and raise his fist in the air.
It may harm some people in the stands. It may harm some of the older folks that have fought and died for this country. It may harm some people. Yes, it will.
Okay, so again, you might want to rethink or at least not use that term. Harm again. It
may anger. Let me use that word. It may anger.
All right, so
folks.
Your feelings got upset. Whatever, you'll get over it.
I don't know. There's a lot of people that are not over this stuff, and that's even on the professional ranks.
Then you don't go. You don't attend. There you go. As simple as that. Again, if you're that offended, and again, in such an offended culture on both sides of the spectrum at this point in time, if it offends you, then don't watch.
That's
don't
what
care.
I'm
Who
saying.
cares?
Hey, leave politics out of sports. There shouldn't even be.
If you're that weak-minded, get out.
There shouldn't even be this discussion, right?
What do you mean?
There should be no politics in sports. None. Then we don't have this discussion.
Again, there's been political statements throughout the history of sports.
I understand that, but I mean,
go back to the 1930s.
The way things,
what happened out there in Germany?
The way things are now, with the divisiveness throughout the U.S. If we would back off on some of this some of this stuff can heal. Sports is supposed to be a healer. Think about
Granted, sports is your ultimate polarizing thing because, again, it's one team versus this team. So, again, I'm on this side, you're on that side, boo, or, again, you're going against whatever. Again, that's prime example number one of how divisive it is. Again, that's a thing that keeps us divisive.
Well, see, the thing is, though, you go back to, and again, you weren't born, when President Kennedy was assassinated. And they brought football back. It was a way to heal the nation after.
Don't even need to go that far back. How about an anniversary?
Or 9/11.
There you go. How about an anniversary?
9/11. And what did they do?
You brought baseball. You have the World Series between the Yankees and Arizona.
It brought everybody together. Sports is supposed to bring people together. Like you said, I could cheer for the Yankees. You could cheer for the Red Sox. But we're not going to go beat each other up in the stands. You should.
There have been so many.
You shouldn't do that.
Can't say it's not a guarantee because you do have those idiots.
I understand that. But I'm just saying sports is supposed to be the healer.
It's kind of why I won't go to Dodger Stadium anytime soon.
Oh, yeah, especially if you're going to wear a Giants jersey.
Hell no.
But my again, I'm going back to the phrase, and I'm saying sports needs to be the healer, not an instigator. And that's what I see. Sports,
it has been.
Sports is an instigator now.
It has been in some aspects, whether it's on the high school side, especially here in the state of Wyoming. I think without a doubt, again, with American Legion baseball, softball, and now entering high school football, even volleyball, and all their fall athletics happening here in the state, I wouldn't doubt it. It's been something to take your mind off of things and get out there and watch, whether you're at that event or either watching, whether it's us or any other way.
But when we're doing the game, I don't think about what's going on in the world. I think about watching 22 kids play football, calling the game, and enjoying a football game.
Are you going to think of the political statement that happens at the again, when the national anthem is happening, again, if it happens here in the state of Wyoming, and again, not saying that it's going to or not saying that it can't, but if it does, are you saying that you as a broadcaster is going to solely focus on that for the entire game then?
No,
for one little brief moment because some kid out there.
I'm not even going to recognize it.
Then there you go.
Because that's the problem with the media. The media's got.
I think that's the issue right now is you're focusing heavily on that. Where again, it was 2 seconds or again, however long a national anthem lasts of again about a minute and a half.
About a 2-minute deal.
Again, 2 minutes out of. Again,
3 hours.
Yeah, something like that. Again, that's going to be your central focusing point. You got an issue then.
Like I said,
it's one little blurb in the time
and
I history.
I don't recognize it anymore because again, if you're going to be political and you're playing sports, then I don't want nothing to do with you.
It's 5 o'clock.
Again, it's non-political. Make it non-political. That's all I ask. It's not life-threatening. All right, real quick, we want to remind you coming up tonight, our Golden Age of Radio Theater, as we will bring to you Gunsmoke ×2 from 8 until 9, the Railroad Hour from 9 until 10, 2 programs as well. The best of the 50s and 60s inside your radio. We're back at it again tomorrow.
Should be.
Question mark. And we'll do it beginning at 3 o'clock. We go to On This Date in History.
I don't have one. I forgot to print one out today.
Well, I could tell you let's see, it would have been Saturday, 1998 if I'm not mistaken. Mark McGuire on that date in history, so it would have been Saturday, broke Roger Maris's all-time home run record.
Yeah, something like that.
During the steroid era. Is that politics? Steroids?
Not really.
Okay. All right, it's drugs.
It's just
sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
A stupid era. It's just a dumb era that happened where every majority of players in that league were participating in it.
Including
now it's a bastardized kind of thing.
Including the all-time home run leader. All right, well.